Hello, Linda Westman here, the author of Come Home to Yourself. It's my journey of coming home to myself, and a big part of my journey was coming home to my community at Sakkara, at Mary Hardy's. I've got God bumps thinking about it. And I wanted to make very clear that this book wouldn't be here if it weren't for one of our Sakkara members, long term, like 40 years. Nancy Lee Bentley wrote a lot of books about nutrition, and I'm all about food. And what she did was write a book with several other authors. And she sent me an email and said, come and meet the authors of this compilation. So I did. I was there on the Zoom and saw a lady who helped people write books. I've been wanting to write a book for 50 years, if not more. I wanted to share the things I was learning, and I hadn't done it. There was such a hesitation in this psychology, the child that didn't want to make a mistake, didn't want to look bad. Oh no, if they learn about me, they won't like me, all that programming, that I'm not alone. And I met Laura Fox there, and I thought, wow, she does this kind of work. So I called her, and I knew I'd have to pay her to help me, but I rationalized in my head, well, your used car is still going strong, and you only paid $6,000 for it. So I'd probably be willing to pay the price of a used car, is what I was thinking, to allow myself to invest money in this project. Also, I had to get close to dying. There was a car accident, and if the guy hadn't been beyond me, he could have hit me squarely where I was driving, and I could have been gone. So I went, shoot, I know I'm going to live longer, but I could be wiped out in tomorrow like this. So I realized, if you're going to get this book out, you better do it now. And actually, that word now was already important to me, because in a meditation, there was a teacher when I got my master's in psychology. He was from Peru, and we did teachings of Ra, and we did a meditation. And we were supposed to come up with a spiritual name, and mine was Uno. And then they told us to repeat that name over and over and over again. Uno, 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 no, no, no. And it became now. And I realized that my tendency to put things off was not helping me. And this was a little bit of wisdom. First of all, the one, uno, we're all one. We're all connected. And that's an easy thing to think about, but to know, as we learned from Rob yesterday, about what others think we pick up, their feelings we pick up. So I learned from another Sakkara member, Solid Rock Foundation, support for Mary. I don't think she could have kept going. I know she couldn't. I'm so thankful to Gail to have Mary continue and to get the work done. My goodness. So that impact of having the love of the people in Sakkara, because that's what it's all about, is huge, 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 huge. So I've called upon a couple of the members to help me communicate this message of following our own inner guidance, that little God within. And Paul Zoino just mentioned it. I call it following the bouncing ball, because I can make plans and decide what to do, but life kind of provides the environment to make that next step. It becomes really easy. It's called being in the flow, or being in the zone when you're an artist. We all have experienced a little bit of that letting go and just being present here, now. Yeah. So I am now going to focus on the main message of today. It's to allow yourself to have a joyful life. That's what it's all about. And when I spoke with Paul and also spoke with Mary Theo about this, they had their own personal experiences, and I want to have them come up. So, Paul, would you come and talk about your experience in following, in not stressing, but following the ball? What does that really mean? So, this is Paul Zoino, who has moved himself from a busy, dense place into a new location. So, Paul, take it away.
Well, you've already spoke it so well.
Oh, hey, this is the kind of support that we have here.
So if we're all one and everything is one, that means everything is a field. So when we get out of ourselves and you really step back, you step back not only out of your own consciousness, but all the way back to just awareness. It's kind of like shutting your eyes and allowing the room to be whatever it is. If you really slow yourself down, it's almost like life literally takes steps through the room or through your own life. That's what I mean by the bouncing ball, because it'll step, and all the attention will always go to that spot. Whether it's in your life, what is this showing? Who is this showing? What am I supposed to be looking at? Every time I ask that question, I'm doing what? I'm opening this space. I'm literally talking to the mother, saying, hey, there's a vacuum over here. And she goes, oh yeah? Like hell, I gotta fill it. And life literally will continue to do that as your spiritual path. That's why I call it following the bouncing ball, because it's kind of like literally watching life itself take steps through the room. That's what I meant.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. Well, yeah.
No, you don't need to take this. This is not an amplifier. It just records.
Right. I was.
Just stand up closer to the mic.
I wanted you guys to know about. I was fascinated with our I say visitor, actually, when I wanted to let go of the heavy duty, painful past that I seemed to be stuck in, that I couldn't move forward from, I thought I should change my name. I thought that would help let go of those old belief systems, so I had a professional numerologically change my name to something that would be good. But he told me that, you have a pretty good name. You have a good name. You don't need to change it. But I did anyway, legally, because I had a client who was an attorney. So we went to the courthouse, and the reason for changing my name was vanity. He put vanity on it. And he didn't say trying to get away from childhood traumas or whatever, or dysfunctional childhood, right? He could have that. So then 4 years later and 4 months, according to the dates, the legal dates, 4 years, 4 months, and 4 days later, I changed it back because I realized the reality, and I liked my name. I liked my heritage. I had great parents. So the exercises in this book that I shared as a way to help people when things are stressful are the big major one I use with every person is taking a deep breath and slow exhale. It's integrating the two sides of the brain, simply because when we're stressed, we're ready to escape from the tiger, right? So what gives, and that means all the energy goes into the muscular system and just survive, not the immune system. We're not fighting bugs. We're just trying to keep the vehicle alive and not digesting food. So that's what's a bit difficult in our culture, because we're stressed continually, almost. And I mean, the traffic. So just thinking about it makes me stressed. The point is, you focus on what you want more of. And that requires some good friends, because sometimes out of your mouth comes things you don't want in your life. Of course, you don't, but it's in you. Like they call us, you squeeze a lemon, and what comes out of it? Lemon juice. Squeeze an orange, it's going to be orange juice, because that's what's inside. So anytime we're stressed, what's going to come out of us is what's inside of us. So the exercises in this book, or the book itself, discusses how what's in us is what we actually, by looking at, oh yeah, I love these words. Oh yeah, let it go. Just let it go. Yeah, right. I mean, what do you mean let it go? It's who I am. I asked a client, if you let go of all the fear, what would be left? She said, there would be nothing left. That's who I am. And I realized that's who I learned a lot from my clients, of course. Whoa, so much. So the point is, how do you get rid of something that you think you are? So you can be something you think you are not. They say we actually are. We're all this part of this powerful creative God, this source, this creative, and we are. And when you step back and look at, like Rob said, I realized I was the one. My thoughts created this event that happened right away. When you start becoming aware, and the higher, it's all about vibration. The higher vibration, the faster these things happen. And when we're in a community like this, for those people who aren't there yet, who can see that we're the creator and we can take responsibility for our life and what happens around us, when we see other people who aren't there yet, sometimes it's like, oh, why did you do that? But being in a community of this accepting, unconditionally loving, all the variety of different people, it's a challenge sometimes to allow other people not to jump on you, stomp on you, but to be who they are, just not messing with your energy. And that's what this book is about, because I didn't know about protecting myself, actually, because a lot of different reasons, but we start small, like the baby elephant that gets staked down with a little rope, can't move. And when they're really big and powerful and can pull out even a large stake, they still think they can't move. So we have a lot more going for us. So that's why these techniques. So the technique that I used a lot to help people move from a stress place, and I first am going to review what we learned from from our, we're learning a lot from all of these people, but I'm talking about Benjamin, because Doug talked to us about anchoring in the stressful thing, like the embarrassment. And then I think of 3 positive things. 1, 2, 3. And when you anchoring, I think you understand what I mean. I think of, so we already did this exercise and it works. So it moves you through this what's going on here? It's the meridians, it's the life force, how it moves in our bodies. So the extra simple technique I do is to, what I'd like you to do is think about something in your life right now that's stressful, and think about on a scale from 0 to 10, with 10 being super stressful and 0 being this is nothing, I can go through this, it's easy. So think of something for a moment that's a bit of a challenge for you right now. It might be a health thing, it might be a household, it might be a tax thing. They want you to pay more taxes. It's a big job to organize neighborhoods and get laws changed, my gosh. But that's what we're being called to do, is gather together. So think about how many have an issue they could think of. Okay, and think of a number where it is right now on that stress scale, with 10 being very stressed. And then we're going to do this brain integration to get the stress part of their brain that can save your life integrated with the creative part, so you become more resourceful and you can think of several different ideas. So bring your fingers, yes, down, and thumbs down, and interlock your fingers, and then cross your legs, also your ankles. Let your wrists be comfortable. They could be lying in your lap. And we're going to have 3 slow, deep breaths. Inhale with a slow exhale, and just 3 times. Inhale, and you could put your tongue on the roof of your mouth also. A second slow exhale, allowing all of our guides and teachers to be available and opening ourselves, asking them to help us with this. And one last breath, I guess. You've already taken it. And exhale. And then release your fingers, your hands, and put your fingertips together, the little with the little at all. And let it gets the energy flowing from one side of the brain to the other side. And now, as you think of that issue again, feel where you are on this level of 0 to 10. So how many dropped more than 2 points? All right, 2 people. And how many, all right, more than 1 point? So the other, anyway, thank you. This is something when people came to me, one lady, a second thing I'd like to share is how we have things in our history that we don't realize. And that's how our friends and people in our lives can come up to us. We're all connected, so they can say things that help us uncover what's going on, especially when we're seeking. So I was able to help someone uncover why she was afraid of heights. She and her partner were driving over bridges, and she was in the passenger seat with her head way down. She couldn't look, she was shaking. And she came in with this stress and sore back and neck. And I asked her body, when was the first time she had problems with heights? And it was in the 3rd month in utero. With muscle testing, you can talk to the body for a yes and a no. That's how I do it. And it was the 3rd month. So I said, do you know anything about your mother's pregnancy? She said no. But then we continued to relax her. And before the end of her session, she said, my aunt told me that my mother had attempted to abort the pregnancy by jumping off the dining room table. So after that awareness, she could let it go. So it helps to understand where things might have come from. And a second understanding, a second situation that I learned from my clients. I totally liked this story about Michelle because Michelle was on her motorcycle and a policeman went past her very rapidly and well, I met Michelle because she had a sore back. Her father was in the hospital and she was crying. He'll never love, if he dies, he'll never be able to say, I love you. That was what was causing her stress right now. A year after this accident, she had been on her motorcycle and went over the divider and into the windshield of a car and landed with burst organs, broken bones. And her pain level was such that she left her body. And she was told by this black guy with the mustache, you need to get back in your body. Well, she tried it and it was really painful. And she left again and he insisted, your children are going to need you. And she said, Linda, I thought that my sister could take care of the kids, but as it turned out, she wouldn't have been able to. So it was a good thing I didn't go. But later, much later, she was watching TV with her husband, and on this television program, they were showing a car driving off of Highway 1 into the water, and this guy is describing an olive-skinned girl with short curly hair, and her husband yells at her, Michelle, you're white as a China doll. What's wrong? She said, that guy, he's describing me. And he was in an accident. He's describing me in Florida. That was in California. And it telling her, so she actually contacted the guy. Oh, by the way, it finally showed him. At first it was only his voice. It showed him, and he was this tall black guy with a mustache, just like she had seen. So the point is that I used to think of us and them, those angels, and then us. But our non-physical part is a very real thing and can do some real work, as Gail knows, and she'll be writing about it in a book. Look out. She has time now to get it done. It is going to be so good because it's stuff we don't even realize was going on, right? By people we know. I'm very excited. So this lady taught me about our ability our expansive, about the possibilities of so why wouldn't we use these powers to create a life, a joyful, exactly the way we want it? Why wouldn't we? Why do we have such a hard time figuring out, well, what would make me happy right now? Or what kind of service or what change, if I could do anything, what would I really like to accomplish? It's scary, I guess. And we've been told how weak we are, and we believed it, and it's easier to do less than what we could do unless we get help. Ta-da! Laura Fox. This would not be here if it weren't for meeting Laura Fox. And she has goats, and she works out in the middle of Washington, in the middle of nowhere. I went there. And Nancy. So people when, like, follow that bouncing ball. It's kind of simple when you think about it, because where do you get support? Where are you? It's almost like you're being eased into it. So I am happy now to put together a conclusion, a tight thing, like because we're learning about our mechanism by going to the pyramids in Egypt that are telling us about our body, about how wonderful we were. Fortunately, in chiropractic school, I had a teacher who was so clear in explaining, and also Bruce Lipton really helped me understand how magical our bodies are. And you start realizing, wow, this really is the temple, the, the, the body, the place where God lives. And I get to be this expression of that all powerful force as me. And then to love yourself, myself. I'm wondering, what does that really look like to love yourself? But it means boundaries. Boundaries are a non-issue when you love yourself and you're going, well, that doesn't feel good. Oh, right. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Don't eat it. Don't say it. So it's all consciousness, like Paul mentioned. So to summarize, I am happy to have the support. What I want to say is that the community and connecting with people. Today, last Thursday, I connected with Laura, who happens to like to kayak. And I have been wanting to kayak this summer. So the two of us went out. This is an example of the ball. It just fell in. I mean, the kayaks are there, the paddles are there, and even the life vests are there, but we didn't know that at the time. But she was saying, you know, I was stopped by the police on a lake and for not having a life vest. I said, okay, we're going to put a bubble of light around us with a silvery mirror finish. So when they look at us, they're going to see the other side of the lake. So she calmed down and no longer had that thought. And that's what we get to do with ourselves, with all these little niggling things of, oh, you can't do that. Why don't, and it might be grandma's thoughts from when we were really little and we heard and we picked it all up. So under the word so just means to me right now, therefore, be aware of, listen, be aware of what you're thinking and saying. And that's why, coming back to the community and our friends telling us, oh, I heard you say this. Is that what you want? No, cancel that. So I am very happy to summarize that, to be able to guide ourselves in acknowledging who we are, acknowledging our power. Like Jesus, when it was really rough in the boat, they woke him, he was sleeping. So they woke him up and he just goes like this. And we've learned from Mary and other people here of the power that we have as human beings. And right now, this is such an exciting time to acknowledge that, to know that, and to share that. Our humanity is so powerful. And that's why I think getting the awareness of the pyramids and what they're for, because people are enchanted with pyramids. But if they really understand how it relates to our bodies, then they can start acknowledging how special our bodies are. It's a nice step to bringing conscious awareness and claiming our powers. I've been reading political stuff about how individuals single-handedly, I mean courageously, faced not-so stuff in the government and things. And it took courage, a lot of, during McCarthyism, where everybody was being, we're going to put you on the list, you're the communist. And I remember how frightened people were. And one person I just read about stood up to this and started the whole ball rolling with waking up people. And having a community like this to support ourselves, each other, in just in our own communities in a small way. Or I read a book by one of our members who is Cindy Robinson, wrote a book about ladies getting together over tea. It's called Spilling the Tea. And it's about communicating, about talking, encouraging people to get together. And women are powerful. We teach the kids I'm so happy to hear her. She was talking with Tamara about the homeschooled kids having the light. She said she knew that Jace was homeschooled because of the light still, the curiosity still within him. It wasn't trained out of him. So that's the precious gift we have in community of supporting each other. And in our own home, I'm all the way in Montana, to gather some people together for coffee. And so I'm going to tell you all that I'm going to do that. And whether or not I bring people all the way across the country to this meeting, we are going to meet there because I know that's where the power is to communicate and be heard by someone, be seen by someone. I'm actually attending now adult child of alcoholics and dysfunctional families. When I went to college and saw all the characteristics of an adult child of an alcoholic, I started looking, well, who's the alcoholic in our family? And I even asked my dad, did Grandpa drink alcohol? And he said, oh, yeah, he drank some cough syrup sometimes. So that was a dead end. But then I learned when I was 50 years old that the babysitter's father had, there was dark energy. And I went to another table at the expo and a lady said, Carl. I go, oh yeah, who is Carl again? So I went back and asked my parents. So that might have had something to do with it. But guess what? We know there's past lives. I think I might have had a past life. And I think I got off easy with the babysitter's father. I know people who's had a lot of suppression. So by us freeing ourselves, we're an example. That's one reason why I'm speaking here, is to be an example, to remind you it can be easy to write a book. There's people who can help you do that, who like to do that, who have fun doing that, unlike those hardworking people like Gail sweating it. And what about, yeah, it's not easy to bring forth this knowledge that is so different. They have to really dig in and prove every point because it's not people's experience. But we have our own experiences and we teach through our experiences, and that's what this book is about. And as far as techniques, I'm going to open up my book and I love to look at books this way. 4 simple phrases of self-forgiveness. This is a big deal because a lot of we are the ones who judge ourselves, our own lives. When we pass over, we get to decide, oh my gosh, look what, I heard Daniel Brinkley, he wrote Saved by the Light. And when he was in Vietnam, he destroyed a hotel and killed the general of the South Vietnamese. And his wife and daughter were left without somebody. And he got to experience, when he had his near-death experience struck by lightning, he was able to see what it was like for them. And he didn't feel good about it. And it's motivated him to do a lot of speaking engagements and help people to support their own personal growth and other people's personal growth. Therefore, the point is, we judge ourselves. There's not some great thing out there. It's our own souls, our own consciousness, who have decided we deserve shit this lifetime because we didn't send the scout out and those soldiers came and wiped out the whole village, or who knows what kinds of things happen on other galaxies, other planets. But we get to forgive ourselves. That's why I'm going to read these words, because it's for ourselves, because we're the ones who set it all up to share right now, this lifetime, during this great grand transition where we breathe and relax and follow the guidance that's available, that shows up right in front of us, right there. So the 4 simple phrases are, I am sorry. I'm sorry I didn't. And please forgive me. In other words, stop judging me. Get off it. Think about something else. And that we're talking to ourselves. And thank you. Thank you. Because it's like saying, this is done. I love you. We are all one. It is a real honor to be able to address this group. It's so exciting to know how we pull in all these different people from with different experiences from whom we can learn and become better at what we do. And do you know, I have tools at home that I haven't been using on myself because I was less important that could be really helpful in what I have going on in my body. And being here and learning from people who are healing others with these tools, I'm going like, oh, I could do that for myself. And a big lesson is to ask for help, ask people. And here, somebody held my hands and said, oh, their hands are cold. You need iodine. Okay, in a few minutes, I talked to somebody who said, go to the Tractor Supply and get a bottle of iodine. And smear it all over. Bruce was telling me he spread it all over his body, his arms, and your body will absorb it. And that iodine is important for the hormones, the glandular system. And what else? Throat. Oh, the thymus, thyroid, right, the energy source. Bingo, all these people, we all need more energy. Help that mitochondria, I'm sure. And that's how things happen, just one right after the other, and it's guided by your own needs. And I would like to know if we have any questions about what I've been, or anything to add, please, about how we might slide through this opportunity of higher vibration, continually higher vibration, where our stuff comes up and we go, oh my God, I don't know, that's not me. I don't really want to look at that. How can we make it easier? Well, we can say, yes, Chris. That's not me. What?
That's not me.
Really? So when we see that crap,
That just said that.
Oh,
it's not me.
You don't acknowledge
it's
when.
It's not your higher self. It's
Perfect. Chris reminds us that we do something that we can judge. We say, no, that's not me. That's not who I really am. And who are you really, Chris? And she's working on it. She definitely is working on it. She is a divine being. She got the words. She let go and they came right in. Yes, that's exciting. We're surrounded by divine beings who only want the best for us. And when we know that, you see, the people get run into and the rear-ended and all different traumas, they might be having a different idea. An idea of, they're after me. Yeah. So when things happen like that, step back and consult with your local intuitive or person, your friend, your best friend, or your own journal, and meditate your own guides. There are, that's what Rob said yesterday, that he had all this time when he was recovering and asked Jesus to teach him. And we all have that opportunity to ask whomever to teach us. I wonder if we can even ask someone like Randa. Could Randa teach me? Would you be available to teach people on the non-physical level?
Sure.
Wow. Great.
We all share great things here.
Yes, we and
All gifted some.
and Gail too.
Is that what the mirror is?
Is that what the mirroring is? So that's in the book, information, and the resources you have around you, even in your hometown. When you start thinking every day, I'm going to learn an amazing, remarkable thing about someone in town today. Say you just moved in and it looks like like there's nobody can relate to. Allow yourself to move into the library or places. And because it took me a long time to meet people, and I realized I slowed it down. So let's forgive ourselves and tune in to the I am, that divine that we are, and move forth in loving it all and honoring, really cherishing the sun and the nature around us. We're very fortunate to be in such a beautiful planet with beautiful divine beings around us. I thank you for your support and your love.